I'll give that a minute. Let's switch over to the JACBW TV logo. I'll wait. Then we'll get ready to go to the input. And I'll check something out real quick. Let's say studio mode. Let me go again. Okay, alright. I'll go ahead and say hi again for this video since I said hi in the other one. I'm going to post both of those on both YouTube and BitChute, that video, because I've done some tales about some upcoming changes to the broadcast and the video gaming. It'll be posted on rockandroll100fm.com soon, but it won't really have anything to do with the podcast or none of that, but it will affect. It's not really a big deal. It's actually something that could help my viewers too, and help me too. Indeed, it's going to have something to do with this little place here that I've added, and no details are here yet. But I will have some more details about this coming very soon. And this will be at the end of every broadcast and of every video that I do for the apfns video gaming. Like I said, I'm going to leave the podcast out because most people don't, in particularly the gaming world, don't really get off on the politics thing. So we're going to leave the podcast out of this, but this is going to be for this broadcast only. Now the podcast might eventually, what I'm thinking about, might eventually gain from it as well, but it's going to be mainly about my video gaming channel. And I'll have those announcements real soon. I'm going to take my gaming to the next level. Y'all know I'm not a pro, but I think I can take it to the next level. Let's get this back to the gaming part here. And I will sign my part off here with the camera. And I'll see y'all, because if I keep my neck down here and play gaming too, I'm going to hurt my neck. So we're going to just, I actually got that color pretty good. You could probably use a little more tweaking. Just think that's a sloppy built-in camera. OBS is a wonderful tool, y'all. I'm going to switch over to the gamer here. Gaming screen. And as you know, we're going to do Galaga tonight. I did Pac-Man earlier. Galaga tonight. And we're trying to talk about the political crap and all that, because I don't like doing that in my gaming. But sometimes those thoughts are spewing. And I'm thinking about doing something different here too, if I can, granted I can get it all to work. I say somebody wants to come on and maybe chat with me, or chat while I'm gaming, or chat. I wish I could actually do some interactive gaming, but most of my friends, they were on PlayStation and I was on the Xbox. So I don't really know how to get that to work. But as I say, if you want to come on and introduce your channel and do some chatting and rattling while I gameplay or whatever, we could try that via Skype or something. I don't know. I'm thinking about making some changes to this broadcast and trying to liven it up some. But I'm not really sure how to go about that. It's something maybe. Whatever. That way people that's watching these videos might only hear me rant, they might hear rattle, they might hear somebody else get to sit down and talk and chat. We could try it. I'm trying to make some changes this broadcast. Because I know I get viewers, and my internet's starting to take the hit again. I've done all the testing, so I don't know what's wrong there. I had plenty of all that crap. That's what took me longer getting back on. I was doing the testing and all that. Okay, so I'm going to shut my camera, and then we'll get to gaming, shall we? I should be on everywhere. Yeah, I'm on everywhere. Let me get to studio mode because I can't see my screen. It's too small. Let me get my screen in position. And I crocked it back to get my fat head into the camera. Like I say, while we're doing gaming, we wouldn't even have to talk about old politics. You know, we talk games, whatever you like to talk about. I'm just thinking of some ways to spice this thing up. Because I'm not a pro, but I'd like to take it to and not be just about me too. Because you know, well, we could introduce your channel through mine. And I'm not afraid of competition. I don't worry about that. I just do my thing and get up there, and if people likes it, they watch it, that's good. If they don't, I'm gonna be playing my game anyway. I'm just sharing it. Just want to take it to the next level. I'll be making all my announcements soon. I spent this year mostly promoting myself, but next year I may do other things. There's more to life than just politics. It got me. So I'm not really going to involve the podcast in this. So we leave it. Ah, look at that. Now look at that. Look at that, two of them. It's so easier when you got the two. I've been trying to actually do streaming for the past few years, I just ain't been able to get it done. Ever since I set up my Twitch channel, 2017. And there I just finally figured out Mixer. Right there at the end. Right there at the end, y'all. I was on that last month, really. And I would game on there, but I didn't know how to access the videos or anything. And I got a 141.70. It probably won't stay on long this morning. And it looks like I'm dropping out, so the full video will be posted at UG. I believe I was going to put this one a bit too. It'd be either one. UG, I want to support both my channels, so I'm going to start doing exclusive videos for each channel to support anti-big tech. Because they want us in a little gulag where they control everything about us. As long as you're 1984 and you go along with them, you'll be fine. If you don't go along with them, you end up like Winston. And he was one of the erasers. And then he ended up being erased. Tech's a good thing. I love gaming. I love robots and stuff. I love that stuff. I want to be controlled by it. By the way, I found one of the newer Terminators tonight on I started watching a little bit there at midnight when I got my last meal. To take that last set of medicine. A girl Terminator fell out of the sky, and they're speaking Spanish for a lot of it. I guess she's in a Spanish community. I'm looking forward to watching. I only watched the first 15 to 20 minutes. I'll watch the rest of it later. I always like Terminator. I like technology. I'll hold it. Well, I don't want it controlling me. But you get me. What if I got another shield? If I don't have another shield for me. SOL, SOL. That didn't get me at the wrong time. Thank you, Twitch. I see one viewer. Although I'm dropping, so. I don't even really hate YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and them. I just hate how they use them. It was actually, it's good and bad to be able to just sit and communicate with people with a simple thing. But then you have to sometimes put up with the backlash. Like if you say something that offends people. If you're not politically correct, you're really in trouble. So it's good and bad. It's a beautiful thing and bad thing. Because it entraps us and helps us and then gets us in trouble sometimes. We wouldn't have had in the old days. But at the same time, it's good and bad. It can be good and bad. Good thing and bad thing at the same time. I don't hate any of them. I just don't like how they're running them. Is that an 8170? My eyes is kind of still gritty. $8170. I'll try to remember to flash my new ending to the game guide. Because it's only really important that I do that in the future. I have no way to participate, so I come up with some others. So we try to help other people try with themselves. Too. Oh, they got me. Woo! 70-70. Right now, that's a good number. I like that, 707. So then the final number, I could have spelled it right, but even though it was my final number. I try to stay on at least 30 minutes. You got me. I'll just say that one shit. Yeah. I probably won't pause for you anyway, so I'll just stay on till I get tired. Yeah, I probably ain't pausing for you anyway. 9930. That's a good number too. 9930. You've already seen my chin because I've got the camera. I got the screen. Y'all know it's way down there. That big fat chin's gotten smaller over the years. It was really big at one time. I mean, real huge. I got this picture of me that's just a little picture, and I wish I could find the actual picture, but I had a problem with that computer back then. Every few months I had to reset it. All I got of it was a little screenshot on a CD that I made. And I kind of wish I had it just for historical purposes to show where I came from. And the one I made on the CD was black and white. That wasn't even its color. I had altered its color. And it's pixelated. Historical purposes to show where I've come from. I wished I had the whole thing. I think I do have one from 2005 though that has that big chin. I think I'm gonna get it out and post it. I had my hair blind back then. They used to blind my hair so it got thinner. I don't want to cause it to completely come out, so I quit doing it. Black hair. The black hair was what destroyed my hair. I started losing my hair the minute I went black. So I just killed it and all that. And when I went black, I thinned right here in this little spot right here in the front. Now luckily, this went over, when did I do that? Early 2000s, 99, 98 done it. The last time I done it was 2007. No, it was late, it was 2009, not 80, 90. 2008, 9. Not the 90s and 80s. I was still doing the blonde hair back then. For some reason I decided I liked it better black, but it caused it thin. So I was lucky that I won a decade, and it's only got a little thinner since the decade. It just looked like if the light shines on my hair, you can see part of my head. It was thin over on the top. Black, it probably wouldn't have. That black's real thick on there. It's also cancerous. But luckily I had the natural black and not the, you know, the black like me. I just had the natural. But even it was harsh on my hair. I went thin after that. That's fine as long as I just used the peroxide and bleached it. I'd usually just do the peroxide, and then every once in a while I'd get the kit and do the blind kit. Most of the time I did it with the peroxide. And go out in the sun. Sat out in the sun for a while. I done it that way for a long time. I need to find that 2005. You can see that big old chin. I mean, it's visible. Post it. Because I had my blind, fluffy hair, Goldilocks hair back then, man. I'd probably use the box in because it's got that look. I miss my old fluffy hair. I use some conditioner shampoo. I have to mostly use baby shampoo though, but I have eye issues. It burns, especially after that blind I have to use the old baby shampoo because I'm telling you, it will cook my eyes if it gets in. Cooking. So I have to use the old baby shampoo, and I hate the smell of that stuff. Because it's got baby oil in it. I still got a ship. Yeah, I still got one. I'm on ship. I got it. Okay. I'll probably lose him immediately. Oh, good. Oh, well, it's stage 2. I like it basically when the guy doesn't kill. You know when you get that when they're coming at you, they're coming down, and you get that bonus fight. That's why I really like that on the TV. But I'm not letting him get me. But I basically missed him to get him at the right time, because if you get him, like the challenge, that's it. If you get him right when after he comes out of that thing though, you can shoot him real easily. You know, after he's done that, whoa, 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 you can shoot him. You get right under him and shoot him with that thing. I kind of miss Mixer. I'd sometimes just sign on the Xbox. Just play directly from the Xbox. But I couldn't never do nothing with those videos until I finally learned there at the end. And it's game over at 1:37:10. 4:13 a.m. 10, 25, 20, 20. Exactly 2. Or is it 3? 3. Let's see. October, November, December. And then the Christmas, y'all. Christmas 2020. Well, they canceled Christmas 2020. They probably will cancel Christmas 2020. It'll be a virtual Christmas. I'm dreaming of a virtual Christmas, and Santa comes to my computer screen. A virtual Christmas. Cyber Monday never got such a digger. You know what people will say off that though when it comes to it? That they will rush to through stores. Just what? They will. Didn't they act crazy for that PlayStation? I think they did. Yes. I'm hearing about the new Atari. Have y'all heard about the new Atari? I like that thing. I don't want to pay no $400 for it though. They claim they're going to put new games on, not just the old ones. You get 100 old ones there as the first. You will even buy new games. I'm glad they come back. I like Atari. I'm a big fan of Atari. I started out with Atari, y'all. My brother-in-law at the time. My sister was married 3 times, so he was the first one. He played with us as a kid, and he'd come over when she was at work. He'd bring his game player over. He loved my mama's tacos. He'd come over. He'd play his video games. He'd eat with us. He'd have dinner with us. Even sometimes while my sister was at work. I kid you not. He used to like playing the video games. That was my first taste of Atari. And he'd bring his Atari over. He's like a big kid. I mean, he was a big kid. He's also a musician and all that. He even played with some bands. He had style too. He liked those hats and pants. I used to love, that's probably where I got my taste of wanting style at. He was stylish. I probably got it from being down there. I was always like wild styles too. Like I love those shirts Rodney Howard Brown wears. I'm telling you, he would have liked that kind of stuff when he was young, man. He had his long, fluffy blonde hair. He looked like a rock star. Indeed, there is a guy who played in movies who he looked similar to. And you'd know him. He was in a lot of them. He had blonde hair. And was blind. And, I'm trying to think. I can't think of his name. I don't even know if I even knew his name. But he used to play in a lot of movies. I believe he's even in, Carrie. The guy with the blonde hair. He had that style too. That's the kind of style he wore too. He had hair similar to him. The fluffy. That's probably where I got my taste for liking. Of course, my daddy was stylish too. I mean, I'm especially seeing that in his old pictures. Since the family's been sharing his pictures. My daddy was stylish, man. He was Blues Brothers, 4 Blues Brothers existed. He wore them shades, suits. By the time I knew him, he had simmered down, you know, the golfy shirt. I remember him when I was young, too. He'd wear his coat if he only wore a knife. My daddy was, but he loved shoes, too. He always had some of the nicer shoes. I even remember that when I was young. I was always kind of slobby, you know, grungy. But I like the stuff, I just don't have it. Like in '92, I got into the flannels and all that. I never got out of it. I never really got out of it. Even after I got into it, I never got out. I stayed grungy my whole life. Even incorporated it in my music when I first started putting my music out. I billed myself as a grunge artist. Now I'm more like a technical. I guess I'm still gritty because I'm gritty. You know, even technical. You listen to my technical stuff, that sounds like it. I like style. He was probably my first taste of gaming, besides Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man. Love Space Invaders too. 9180. I had to do some Space Invaders before I get out of here. I know I mostly said it was Galaga. But I'm gonna close out with some Space Invaders. 9180. I'll probably be calling it quits in a little bit. It's already been 28 minutes. And I did an hour earlier of Pac-Man. I'm gonna go ahead and get Space Invaders if I can find it. It's Space ET on these things. That the Xbox version is hard. That is hard to play. I thought this was hard. These little ones are kind of hard too. They just on these. My favorite is the Atari one. Their kills on Atari. Oh, I hit my shield. Got my first one there. It's kind of hard like this one, but it moves faster. They move faster on the Xbox. And that big old shelf, he just gets shot easily. He gets shot too easy. He's too big. Retro. They're coming down on me. I'm thinking of a song. Coming down, coming down. They're coming down. Ah, I got me. Help the skelter. Help the skelter. I didn't have to worry about them coming down. They got me. What was my score? 310. I usually do play Space Invaders in October. Not getting a single one of them. You get little footsies. Little footsies are always the hardest. get the ship. Got one little footsie. Two little footsie. One little, two little, three little footsie, and they got me. 5 little, 6 little, 380 little footsie. I call them little footsie. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. They only got one. Yeah, this one's kind of hard too. I guess you don't really want to get it to be too easy. You don't want to lose all the time. That's what them boys got in trouble with. I was watching this thing back in the 80s. They found the way to rig the machines where they can make more quarters. They got sued by Atari. Because people learned how to play them. They figured them out. I eventually figured out the strategy, because if you watch them long enough, you realize how they go. This one always gets me. And that one on Xbox, the Retro Invaders, it's hard. The creatures are too little and the shelf is too big. And that makes it hard to play. This one, I think it's those big shields that are in my way. But yet you need them for protection too. Because they shoot a lot. I'm not going to shoot across. I'll sometimes shoot a shield, but at least I get some of them. And they got me. You got a shield! I like getting the shield. Not sure which one I'll post where. I don't know if I'll post this one on YouTube. I get more views on YouTube. It's right. I'm basically going to be robbing some of my views of my channel. I want to tell you, I love YouTube. They've been good to me. Their viewers. I mean, it's a small amount of videos, but views, but when you think about per video, I think that they will go back to your video and watch it. That's amazing. I mean, it's not like I'm doing big, huge numbers, like thousands of views and stuff, but I might get 25, but that's per video. 10 at the lowest. Of course, I probably just ain't promoting my BitChute too much. Maybe if I start promoting it. Of course, now I'm off Twitter, so it's going to be even harder to promote myself now. I've lost that avenue, but I do have Galb and Farler. I just don't have as many subscribers there. Of course, I worked harder on my Twitter. I was there more than I was anywhere else. I usually just use Facebook for family connections. So almost everybody in the family has a Facebook, where they have anything else or not, they do have a Facebook. Most of them. And every now and then I'll comment on articles. Of course, lately I've been following other people there too as well, especially now I'm on Twitter. I always follow them InfoWars wherever they're at. They took InfoWars off everything almost. I've added a lot of their people lately, the people that support them. Woo. I'll go for a little longer. That way I can have a full broadcast. It was normal for me to have at least 45-minute videos. That's what I did most of the year. 45s, 40 something. Sometimes an hour if it was a game like Resident Evil. I need to try to get that 2 back up and start playing again on Xbox. I quit. I need to start again. I'll probably have to start over as I don't even remember what I was doing. Start afresh and try to play it in full. I never did finish it. I need to make that a go. Which I've never either. Indeed, I usually get stuck with the slow motion. I'm in the slow motion in 76 for the first time. For Jelf. Not Lori yet, but I'm sure I'm getting there. I'm probably racing her there. I tried to play Jelf in Vegas, and he dropped dead, y'all. He dropped dead. He dropped dead. I kid y'all not. He got to the Vegas sign, and then he went kaput. He died. And because I didn't have no other saves. And that was all she wrote. Who was that to sing that? Was that Trickster? Or Mark Slider? And that was all she wrote. Trickster always kind of reminded me of Mark Slider, the way they sung. Their voice. You know, I was a metalhead when I was a kid. And that was all she wrote. I used to like all that stuff. I watched MTV Headbangers Ball, Ricky Rackman. Boy, I thought metal music was bad back then. I think I'm worse than metal. Because I'm even more, my attitude's even more rock and roll than a lot of theirs. They sometimes seem like they'll just go along with any authoritarian stuff. With the exception of something like Dave Mustaine. The Eyeballs. I think even Marilyn Manson's still kind of defiant. I just don't think he speaks on a lot of this stuff. I get things in between. I think he's still just as, he just don't speak on it, because he can't really. There's censorship everywhere. I think he's still just the same as he always was, the individualist. You know, a lot of these people have conformed. He's not quite as bold as he used to be on speaking it, but I think he's still the same individual as he always was. I appreciate that. Of course, he don't really need my approval. He's him. He can do what he wants to do. Yeah, I was a metalhead when I was a kid. My daddy would bring in all the magazines, the old ones that didn't sell. A lot of them were the bad magazines, like, say, the thrash, I mean, not bad, but thrash metal and all that, even though I didn't know those bands. I didn't listen to anybody but Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer, and maybe some stuff I'd record off Headbangers Ball. Like, I would listen to some Testament. I used to love Testament. And I got them on a promo with Pearl Jam, of all things, too. In that same promo sets. Learned about Pearl Jam as well. Coca-Cola used to put out tapes. And my daddy would get a lot of those. And my mama, because she'd work at stores, too. But my daddy was the manager. He'd bring all them tapes. Or we would tape the promos. Like, they used to give these codes, and you'd send them in for a CD and stuff. My mama would get them. Well, I learned about Pearl Jam. And there was also this other song I'd play, and I don't even know who sung it. It wasn't metal. I don't even think it was a grunge song. I just think it was alternative or whatever. You know, and I was turning 17 around that time, and it was a song that went, I'm 17 and I don't care. I hadn't heard that in a long time, but I sometimes remember it. Because I had that kind of attitude. I was kind of a little badass. Well, there's a lot of stuff on that tape. But I discovered Pearl Jam on them. I mean, that Jared was Alive. I believe it was Alive. Alive was on there, and it was on that Coca-Cola tape even before their album came out. Of course, I had already heard of them in the magazines because I got Andrew Wood's tape. You remember where you used to send off for the tapes? That's also how I learned about the bootleggers. And I found a person who had an odd Nirvana tape today on. I mean, I actually thought at first when I first started listening to it, I thought I had that tape. I didn't have that tape. He had 4 or 5 different versions that I had never heard before of those Nirvana songs. Now, I had some of the 88 demos. This guy that had the demos that I bought them from, he had some of them, but he didn't have 3 or 4 of them. Of that 1988, he had the first one. And I think he had the one that goes doon 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 doon. And he had a version of Sifton on there, but it wasn't the same Sifton that this guy had. And I was actually, wow, I'm actually hearing some stuff from Nirvana that I hadn't heard before. Because I went around buying, I mean, most of that box set, with the exception of They Hung Him on the Cross and a few others, I'd already heard. But it was so good to get them on the box. But this guy, he had about 4 or 5 Nirvana demos that I had never heard in my life. And he claimed he only had a copy of the tape had gotten stolen. And he had to get it from his brother. It was a good thing he made a copy with his brother so he could get it back. Because he had about 5 demos that I had never heard before. I mean, I heard them all. I used to buy all them demos. I bought all the Guns N' Roses demos too, and I wished I'd got the Motley Crue ones. But Motley Crue released a lot of theirs. I had to be wise and choosy with what I bought, because them bootleggers, they charge you through the nose for that stuff. But I made sure I got Guns N' Roses, and I made sure I got Nirvana's. I wanted Metallica's. This guy had everybody. I mean, he had demos from Slayer. 1993. Skid Row demos. Some of them demos they actually released on the albums later. In the summer of 93, I got the Skid Row demos, and I took them on the cheap tape. And they didn't sound that well, because the cheap tapes didn't dub them demos too well. This is how they would sell them. They would sell you the high-grade chrome tapes for more money. And they would sell you the lessers for... I got the Nirvana demos around that time too, but I had to choose between. I got the Nirvana on the high grade tape. I got Skid Row's on the regular tape, but I had them and I liked them. I had them too. Some of the Skid Row demos they had on that demo tape were the original Skid Row singer, the one that left them. I used to like that. I learned about them through the back of the metal books, though. And I'd save my little money, and my mama, she would pay me a few dollars. Every time I'd save that money up, I'd either buy an album or a bootleg. Those were the days. Those were the days. But I'd never actually heard those 5 Nirvana demos before. I was glad to hear them. I love anything Nirvana, and I really love that old sound of Kurt before he made it. You know, the polished sound that they give you in studios. I love that old grungy sound that he had in the beginning. And I'm going to tell you, one of those demos, the sound of Puddle of Mud, it kind of reminded me of Puddle of Mud. So I could tell, you know, you can sort of see a resemblance in him and Nirvana's music, and I really heard it in that demo. I'm sure Kurt inspired him too. I don't really know. I've only had one. I actually have had a conversation with him. It was kind of funny. My sister and my mama and we would go to my daddy back when he was alive. And we went to this one in Chattanooga, and he looks at me and he says, "You're with the two Heidies in this building, or that they're the two Heidies, the only two Heidies." And I thought it was kind of mean. He actually said that. He looked at me and grinned and said that. Of course, those girls, they were kind of rough looking. I mean, I don't want to be ugly. I mean, mean. But he looked at me and he said that. And I just laughed, and it's one of my memories of him. What is his name? Wesley. I met him a few times while we was seeing him. Seen him a lot. Seen them a lot, too. Skid Row, Marilyn Manson. We spoke with Marilyn Manson's daddy. I never actually spoke with Marilyn Manson. I spoke with his father. But anyways, he looked at me and said, "They're the only two Heidies in this building." I couldn't believe he said it. I couldn't believe he said it. And he grinned while he was saying it. It was mean in a way. It's another one of my favorite rock and roll tales. Oh, I don't know if I've shared that one on the podcast before. Yeah, I think I did. I've been doing that damn podcast for 4 years now. This April. It's coming up on 4 years. But he looked at me and he said that. I couldn't believe it. Oh, and we had some experiences at those concerts. One night, I had this whole crazy woman. She was stalking one of the members. And they had to throw her out. They had to get rid of her. I mean, they had to literally carry her out of the building. She aggravated me all night. She'd come up to me and whispered in my ear, "You look like Ozzy Osbourne." She was drunk. She was drunk as a skunk. And when they were carrying her out of the club, "He's got his hands on my boobs," she screamed. He didn't have his hands on her boobs. He had them around her waist and he was carrying her out. She was wild that night. I mean, wow. Of all the guys she was stalking, his name was Stone. I don't think we're related, but his name was Stone too. She bothered that guy all night. I hope she didn't know I was named Stone. I mean, I had my music out there, but I'm sure none of them people knew. I've passed my CDs out there. I printed up this one called Mission to Mars. I sometimes pass them out to the crowd. I'm not sure but she was drunk as a skunk. She walked up. She aggravated me all night. She come up and said, "Yeah," she whispered in my ear, "You look just like Ozzy Osbourne," she whispered. It's funny. I've got some funny rock and roll tales. Even though I've never been in a band, we kind of went on tour with Hinder when we would go see them everywhere they go. If we could get to it. If it was in our region, and we went one time to Orlando. I need to pull my picture out of them. I actually got to meet Hinder before Austin left. It's the only time I never looked like a giant in my life. I was just big this way, fat, but I mean, they were up there right with me, and like I said, one was even towering over me, old Mike over there. He was taller than me. I use it like a giant everywhere I go. I always said in the school pictures, I was the big hump at the back, the big Jabba the Hutt in the back there. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. This was telling some of my tales there. I got to thinking about that. We went as far as Orlando, and we had a Kentucky show that got canceled. And then we went over to Ohio. We even seen Kopak in Ohio. We saw them in the club that Dimebag had died. And we discovered Kopek opening, but I'd already been playing them on my rockandroll100fm.com even before they opened, Brander. Indeed, I was so thrilled when my sister told me. I said, "That's the band I've been playing." They had this song. It was on the soundtrack that we got, the Saw 4 soundtrack, and it goes. I'm sure if you go find my YouTube channel, you'll probably find some of their videos. Love is dead! Love is dead! I can't remember the words right now, but I love that song. I discovered it off getting the soundtrack so I could hear the new Hinder song. And I ended up playing that one too. We actually went to see them, because they were from another country. They were from Ireland. And we rode all the way out to the club that what's his name died in, Dimebag Darrell, to see them. Now, we didn't know that that was the club at the time. But I'm going to tell y'all another little story about that. His brother told a tale about he would look up at the time and it would be 3:33. This is Vinnie Paul. I kid y'all not. And I didn't know about this. I found that interview on YouTube. After I went to that club, I done that. I'm telling y'all, I done that. I would look up at the time, and there 3:33 would be day, night, 3:33, day, night. Doesn't matter. I'd look up. There the 3:33 was. It was after I went to that club. It took some physical. I mean, it was a good experience, but it was a bad experience because it drained me all. I felt the sadness of being in that place. All those years later, I mean, we're talking about, when was it, 2000? I'd have to go look 2010. We went to, what was it, I always get these confused. I think Labor Day's in September, right? Memorial Day's up when the summer begins and ends. And I never forget it because it was an experience. But I got where every time I would look up at the clock, like I could just look up and it'd be 3:33, and it would be the same way in the AM hours. And years, about a little bit later, I was watching some interviews with Vinnie Paul, and he gets on there and he tells a story. It don't matter what time of day I'm in the studio or I'm doing this and that, I can look up and I see my brother's number, 3:33. He said. So I'm going to get off here. Thank y'all for listening. I hope you have a good Sunday. And I stayed on 54 minutes. Part of it was just rattling there. Telling my rock and roll tales. I love rock and roll, y'all. I still love rock and roll. I might be a Christian and try to do right, but I love my rock and roll music. I try my best. I don't always do good.